Welcome to my biology class. Today our topic is Platyhelminthes. Phylum Platyhelminthes is just having the animal with a flat body. Flat in the sense they have a dorsiventrally flattened body they've got. And this is advanced than the previous category of Ctenophora members. In what way they are advanced? The first thing, this is the first phylum to have 3 germ layers, that is triploblastic animals. That is one way it is advanced than the previous category. And then here the animals are all bilaterally symmetrical, and it is a kind of a segmentation, though it is the pseudo segmentation. A kind of a segmentation has appeared in this phylum. So these are all the ways, and also some special organs present in organ level in those characteristic features makes this Platyhelminthes advanced than the Ctenophora members. Let us start from the habitat. Habitat, here they are parasitic, mostly they are parasitic, but they do have some free living forms like Turbularian group. All are free living and they live in terrestrial condition, or they live in water in the sense aquatic forms, either in marine or in fresh water. So they live in all the conditions, terrestrial, aquatic and parasitic, free living. So in all the groups we could see these animals. And generally when you talk about their body, as I said, it is dorsiventrally flattened and it is bilaterally symmetrical. Bilateral symmetrical in the sense the body can be cut into 2 equal halves in any one plane only, any one plane. And the previous category we have seen that partly they are radially symmetrical and partly they are bilaterally. Here fully they are bilaterally symmetrical, and they've got a triploblastic layers, germ layers, that is ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm are properly well developed. Though the mesoderm is well developed, these animals lacks the coelom, so they are acoelomic animals. But the segments have seen, but the segments here are not true segments. It is called pseudo segmentation. Pseudo segmentation in the sense when they grow in the embryonic origin, the segments are not formed in the embryonic, but the segments which they formed in the later years doesn't have a connection. The internal and external connection is there is no coordination, proper coordination or not there from external segment to the internal body functioning. And also in case of a Taenia solium, here the segments can withdraw once they completely matured or decayed and then removed, and as it is removed the new segments would be formed in this area. So the segments are not truly designed in the embryonic condition. Later on it is formed, and as it is formed it is expelled from the body too. So it is the pseudo segmented body. And the next important feature compared to the previous category is organ level. Organs have appeared here. So organs, some special organs for excretion, and sometimes the nerves are well developed. That kind of a thing appeared in Platyhelminthes. And about there, they don't have, the body is somewhat, the body wall is very soft, and it is kind of a mucus since it is placed inside the body. It's a parasitic animal, but still they've got some protection. A thick cuticle kind of a protection is there in their body. The one which lives outside or free living forms have got a thick cuticle as a protection. And then here very special cells called parenchyma cells. Parenchyma cells in the sense not present in the plant parenchymatous cells. Here some special cells are parenchyma, and these cells are involved in transporting the food and other things here, because there is no well developed coelom and all here and acoelomic, but the parenchyma cells will take care of many things here. Let us see. And then this animals have got a hydroskeleton, a fluid kind thing runs in the body which is giving the shape, and also it involves in the transportation along with the parenchyma cells. So that is the thing, and the body of the animal is not stagnant, it keeps moving. So the movement also can be carried out with the help of this hydroskeletal system. And as usually we start with the digestive tract. Digestive tract is incomplete, only mouth is present, like a blind sac, only mouth is present, there is no anus point. And the mouth also, they don't have a well developed jaws, that nothing is there. But in case of a Taenia solium, this is the parasite, endoparasite, which is living in two different hosts. And this animal has got this region, a protruded head kind of a region. It is not a head, but the anterior part is somewhat bulky, and this is called scolex. And the scolex has got a center retractable rostellum. See, when it is not in function, it will be going inside the body like a concavity. After that, it will be expelled out with the hooks. Hooks are covering the entire rostellum, and then the suckers are present. So with the help of the suckers, they just suck the juice. The suckers are prominent here in fasciola hepatica, the liver fluke. Here there is a sucker mouth. Around the mouth there is a sucker. They've got a ventral sucker too. And in this way they just suck the already digested food, because these animals are just hanging in the small intestine, just suck the food and they thrive. The one which lives, the free living forms, has got a mouth, pharynx, and a tube kind of an intestine, but there is no anus. The waste is discharged via the same opening. The food entry and the waste can be eliminated via the same. So that happens here. So on the whole, this is incomplete digestive tract. And when you talk about their respiratory tract, respiration is via just the body surface. There is no any special device or any holes like that. Only this via the skin, there is an exchange of gases takes place. And so simple it is. And in case of circulation, there is no circulatory system, totally off. But the excretory system is developed. It has started here with the very special cells called flame cells, and this is the flame cells. This is the flame cell. The outer, the curvy regions are all kind of amoeboid kind, pseudopodians, and inner a globular structure which is extended with the cilia. The cilia will absorb the unwanted things, and then see, these are all the excretory granules. They just collect the nitrogenous waste and put it in the tubules, and this tubule will be opening in the exterior of the body surface, and the waste would be released continuously. So there is no any complete organ system, but the flame cells are involving in excretion, and they mostly go with ammonia in their nitrogenous waste. So they are ammonotelic animals. And nervous system also, it's a ganglions. They've got a ganglions, the cluster of ganglions present throughout the body here. But in this whole category, the planaria has got some speciality. Like planaria has got nerves. The nerves especially, look at here, the red color. This is the longitudinal nerve. So here one and here one, two longitudinal nerves are running for the whole body near the wall layers, and then it is clustered here as a brain. A brain is a cluster of a ganglion, the cephalic ganglion only. It is not brain. The brain is the term we generally don't use it here. The cluster of ganglions collected in the top region, anterior region. And then this longitudinal nerves are just connected with the transfer nerves. And this transfer nerves are end up with the small lateral nerves. It looked like a ladder, so it simply looked like a ladder, but it is not a nerve cord kind. All this would be developed in the future coming phylums, especially it started from Annelida. Now it is just a nerve runs in the longitudinal or transverse or lateral direction, so, but it is advanced compared to other features or other creatures, and this is an advanced nervous system in planaria. Planaria is a very special animal here. Actually, in reproduction also something special. Regeneration is special with the planarians. Let us see the reproduction. When you talk about the reproduction, it is asexual, can be seen here. Asexual also seen in planaria, because it's a kind of a binary fission where the animal can cut into two equal halves, and two parts would be leading their separate life. So it's a binary fission, asexual. But if you talk about the sexual reproduction, and the animals are all hermaphrodite, but in case of a schistosoma, here, this is the one which shows the sexual dimorphism. So externally you can identify male and female. In that way it is bit advanced. So not the entire platyhelminthes groups are hermaphrodite. Here and there a few forms are showing the external dimorphism too. And the fertilization, since it is an hermaphrodite, the fertilization goes internally. So internal fertilization is very common, but the growth is not direct. Indirect growth is there, and in the same one species they exhibit different types of larvae. The larva, for example, I've just written here the Taenia solium, oncosphere larva, hexacanth embryo, and then cysticercus larva. These different larvae are exhibiting to complete their life cycle. See, Taenia solium lives in two different hosts, human being as well as the pig. So in case if they go with two different hosts, it is called as digenetic. So the digenetic condition is exhibited by this. But on the whole, when you put it in the nutshell, you could say that this platyhelminthes are advanced than Ctenophora members or Coelenterata members in some features, like as we discussed about bilateral symmetry and triploblastic natures. So that's all, and most of them causes diseases too here. And the planaria has got a very good, exclusively good regenerating capacity. Any part if you cut, a small bit also will become a new full animal. And that's all about this group of platyhelminthes. If you want to have any clarification on any of the systems we were discussing, you please put it in the comment section. We'll discuss further. Thank you. Subscribe and please share too.